What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today is episode 69.
Nice.
Nut. Today, on episode 69, we are talking about the very sexual American Pie. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful DNA Gaming, consisting of Dan and Angela.
Hello.
And joining us once again, it's only been a few weeks, and we're already happy to have him back, the legend himself, Darkraizard.
What's going on? Thanks for having me back.
Oh, absolutely. I felt you were a little disappointed that when we did Super Mario Brothers, that it wasn't episode 69. Because I said the episode, and you were like, oh, I thought this was 69. And I was like, well, I guess we got to bring him back for 69.
Wasn't upset, but it was like, it was right there.
It was
so
disappointment.
Close.
It's okay.
Yeah. So just to clarify, we're talking about American Pie the movie, not the Don McLeon song, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is a movie podcast, Dark. We don't talk about we talk about music a little bit, but not that much. No, we are talking about the movie from 1999. 1999. I thought this was made in the 2000s.
Just about there.
It was almost there. So
I have a
American
joke.
Pie. Okay. Right now?
Before we start. Yeah, absolutely. Before we start,
go ahead.
it's relevant to the film, I feel.
Okay.
Okay. And if you have heard this before, please stop. Don't stop me, but just play along. All right. Fair enough. So this came up on TikTok the other day. I was hanging out with my buddy. And I was like, I'm writing that down and putting it on. I found it humorous. I don't know how funny you'll think it is, but ready? All right.
Can I record you and put it on TikTok?
No, absolutely not.
I'm gonna clip it. Just record. I'm just gonna post it.
Please.
If a guy nuts in a girl's eye,
No.
does that mean she's watching the kids?
Oh.
Thank you.
That was not funny, Dan.
All right, if you want a funny one, I'll
It's
help you real
relevant.
quick. Why did the
But
sperm
by all
cross the
means.
road?
Why did the
What
what?
now?
Why did the sperm cross the road?
Why?
Go ahead.
Because I put on the wrong socks this morning.
That's
There you go.
It's very relevant for a scene that takes place in this movie. Listen, this is episode 69, and there's gonna be a lot of just talk about sexual stuff on this episode. So if is this something you don't want to listen to, this is probably not the episode for you. But it is episode 69, so we did have to it just felt right to talk about a raunchy movie. And boy, oh boy, I don't remember it being this raunchy. I remember this being a raunchy movie, but wow, watching it last night, I was like, damn.
So the little bit I remember of like that time frame was there was a lot of editing they had to go do post to get that down to an R-rated movie.
Yeah. It was all time. It was all like how long things lasted.
Yeah.
Like scenes. We'll talk about that when we in a little bit of all the stuff they had to do to drop it down to an R rating. But we did a vote on Twitter to talk about we pretty much gave it the audience the choice of what movie to do, and then I ended up doing a wheel spin on it because we didn't have a movie with more than one recommendation, so I had to do it that way. But yeah, it just felt right to do a movie like this for episode 69, and I'm very excited, I guess, to talk about this movie. It's definitely different from what we've been doing.
I mean, if you're going back to like, especially that time period, there's American Pie, Something About Mary, and Austin Powers. Like those were like the kind of the raunchiest almost of the 90s that were successful. Well, I don't know how successful this movie really was, but
it spawned a lot of sequels.
Well, not, I mean, like big sequels, because they were like direct-to-video stuff too.
When we get to the facts about this movie, this was a successful movie.
So, damn, I had something I was going to say and I fucking lost it. Like, I was just sitting there about to, anyway, carry on. Go ahead, it's done.
So this movie was directed by Paul Weitz. The only other thing of notice that there was a couple movies that he did that I watched. He directed Circuit of Freak, The Vampire's Assistant, which I read the book, and the movie was okay. It had John C. Reilly in it. Little Fockers, which is the worst of the Fockers movie. Admission. Show me a wiener. Isn't that from Admission? Isn't that the movie?
Wait.
Isn't that from that movie?
Admission.
Isn't that the one with no, never mind. That's what
you're thinking of Accepted.
Ask Me About My Wiener is from
Accepted.
accepted,
There's some-
not
Accepted,
admission. I
That's-
Same,
fucked
same
that
movie,
all up.
though.
And he did recently. He did Fatherhood, which was a Netflix movie with Kevin Hart.
Which are
He-
like all of what Kevin Hart does now. It's all Netflix
yeah.
movies.
Oh, but he wrote the movie Ants. So
Yes.
Hey,
Bravo to
that's
him.
a great
And-
movie.
About a boy.
yes.
Oh.
But it was written by Adam Hers, which he literally just wrote this over. I think it was like a vacation the year before. It was like a ski vacation he went on, and it was pretty much about his life. It was based on his high school, his hometown, and I guess the added
His
bonus that he
inability
was.
to get
I
laid.
mean, so pretty much, I guess Jim is him in fictional form.
Oh, wow.
It just feels like any high school of this time where it's just ridiculously exaggerated. You're just like, guys.
Of course, that's how all these type of movies were back in the 90s,
Oh, I know,
late
I
90s,
know.
early 2000s. But he
And the
wrote,
trope still exists.
yeah, sure does. He also wrote American Pie 2, American Wedding, which I thought American Wedding came out a lot later, but it came out almost 20 years ago. The third movie.
Really?
And then they did American Reunion almost 10 years later.
I feel so old.
I only thought
This
there were
came out
3,
before
but
I
there's
was
4 of
in high
these
school.
movies, plus all
Yeah.
the side ones like Bandcamp, of course. That was, I think, the most popular one that I remember from like those side American Pie movies. It was American Pie Presents. They had Bandcamp, The Naked Mile, Beta House, The Book of Love, and Girls Rules, which came out in 2020. So they're still pumping these fuckers out.
It's feeling very National Lampoon. Like they
Yeah,
have
I
pretty
think
much
that's
what
what
this
they were trying to
was.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I think National Lampoon, I think their last movie they did was maybe Van Wilder. So then, which was
No, they
around
had a
this
newer
time,
one.
I think. Really?
And-
I thought National
Yeah,
Lampoon
I
was
think-
gone. Like I didn't think they still existed.
I thought they did something else after that. But
Oh.
I remember Van Wilder.
This movie stars Jason Biggs, Chris Klein, Sean William Scott in his first ever role. He was only paid $8,000 to be in this movie.
Yeah.
Who
And
was?
he sucks, to be honest. I loved Stifler back in the day. I remember him being one of my favorite characters. Watching him yesterday, I was like, this character sucks.
Did not age well.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he's awful. Tara Reid, Mina Suvari. She was in American Beauty this same year, which was with Kevin Spacey. It was a weird fucking movie. And
All
Eugene
right.
Levy, who is
Oh, yeah.
just awesome.
You
If
can't
you have
forget-
not seen Schitt's Creek, you need to watch Schitt's Creek.
You
Go ahead, Doc.
can't forget that it's also got the kid from Kid in King Arthur's Court and Rookie of the Year.
Is that the Thomas Ian Nicholas?
Thomas
Yeah.
Ian Nicholas.
Yeah. They don't even. It was Eddie K. Thomas is the one who plays Finch.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever
Yeah.
I think his last role was in a TV show that I watched, and his role was just called deputy, and I don't remember seeing him. And I watched that show.
They probably don't remember casting him either.
Has he always been here? Don't worry, he just showed up. Just put him in a role. Just put him in a role. You don't want any
He
problems.
keeps saying he was in American Pie. I don't know what he's talking.
Who's he doing that?
about.
He did a voice in American Dad.
He's done it. Yeah.
Very.
He's in 94 episodes of American Dad.
Also had Jennifer
Couple.
Coolidge in it. She's awesome. There was something that she stated in an article that after this movie came out and after playing Stifler's mom, she was able to sleep with like 200 guys that probably wouldn't have seen her, wouldn't even have looked at her, just because of playing this role. And I was like, that's
Hey,
an
awesome.
interesting factoid right there.
You take your W's, man. Take your W's.
my favorite character, he's not my favorite character, but just the fact that in the credits, John Cho, who is in Harold and Kumar, he's been in
Yeah.
a lot of things. He's still going strong today. He's just considered the MILF guy.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
So the acronym MILF was not created from this movie. Like it did. This movie just made it bigger than it already was. I guess it was part of an article back in the early 90s. And then this movie kind of just put it out
Ran
into
with
the universe.
Streamlined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Allison Hannigan, can't forget her because she has the icon. He just has that line that one time at band camp, which everyone fucking said
Dude.
when
Yeah.
I was in middle school and high
All
school.
the time.
Oh my god.
8th grade. I was in band. I I did marching band that year with the high school. Do you know how many times I had to answer the question?
Oh, so funny.
And I didn't play flute.
That one time at band camp.
You played
it's
oboe.
It's the best.
I played clarinet.
Allison Hannigan is great. She was just coming off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Mhm.
like to do this, and then she would go on to do How I Met Your Mother.
Yep.
I was gonna say she probably turned out to have the most successful career.
I mean, she also was in the rest of these movies because she ends up. Spoiler alert: she ends up marrying Jim.
Yeah.
Pretty much every woman that is with the guy that they're with in these movies, they stay together from high school. Because I think she marries Jim. Actually, I don't know if Tara Reid's character ends up with Kevin still. I don't remember.
Yeah, she's burned out on drugs and then it's been a shark movie.
Tara Reid. Also, Sean William Scott in the credits is just a dumb fact, but he goes by Sean W. Scott in the credits. But then after he became bigger, he started using his whole name. I know, useless facts I'm going to just throw out there.
No. What else did he do?
Road Trip?
Oh, yeah.
The Rundown.
The Rundown. He was actually pretty good in Road Trip. The Dukes of Hazzard?
Yes, that movie.
He was in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, too.
Yeah. He was in Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in the Lethal Weapon TV show, but he wasn't a main cast member. He was a guy who replaced the guy who played Riggs in the TV show. That just shows how big Sean William Scott still is. He's on a TV show now. I can't remember what it's called. It's on cable. I couldn't tell you. But to be honest, I don't I look at this cast. I'm like, who? I mean, I think it's Eugene Levy. I mean, coming off of Schitt's Creek, which is a huge television show, but he's also been doing comedy for close to 50 years.
He started in horror, didn't he?
Eugene Levy? No, I think he was part of a comedy group up in Canada.
But that was supposed to be Bill Murray.
Was it?
Yeah, they were originally trying to get Bill Murray.
As much as I love Bill Murray, this is Eugene Levy kills
Eugene Levy is what makes this movie memorable.
Oh my god,
as Jim's dad.
He's probably
the
my favorite
perfect awkward parent. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's only in the movie for like maybe
5 minutes total.
Less than 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's the same with Allison Hannigan. Like if you remember, like, you know, based on two Wedding and Reunion, she's really not in this movie for very long.
No.
And she's just there to be the band camp girl, and then she hooks up with Jim, and then she disappears, and then you're like, oh, you really never, like, if you're, you know, back in the 90s, you're watching this movie, like, you know, you'll never see that character again.
Yeah.
Surprise.
You'd be wrong.
I
like that they,
flutes,
I like that they're playing lacrosse in this movie, man.
I've seen that.
The Lax Bros, and like myself.
I was like, hey, Parker played that. This movie did not.
I was like, I know how to do all that.
Parker watches. He's like, "This is the next big thing."
I was like, I watched those. I was like into the lacrosse parts, and I was like, man, I really want to be back on the field again, but I'm fat. But they didn't. The Sean William Scott and Chris Klein, they didn't know how to play, so they were like, all right, we'll give you a few weeks. You can kind of figure it out. And then it just got to the point where they're like, nah, we'll just use our doubles.
No,
just
I was
use
just
the doubles
going to say
for
that. They spent 3 weeks training them, and they couldn't figure it out.
I still can't figure it out.
Well, it's not surprising because 20 years later, Sean William Scott still hasn't figured out how to act, but somehow he still ends up in movies.
Because I was asking Parker the other day, I was like, dude, I was at an eatery and they had women's lacrosse on. I was like, what's going on? And Parker's like, I don't know either. I'm like, why is
lacrosse
it different?
Is so much different than men's. There's a lot more
bullshit.
Rules, a lot less contact. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
I was asked to coach women's lacrosse, and I couldn't say yes because I was like, I don't know anything about it. And they did the same thing. They were like, but you played lacrosse. I'm like, but men's lacrosse. Clearly you don't know anything.
How is it so different? Like
I don't understand it.
They weren't. We watched it the other day. They weren't wearing helmets. I'm like,
yeah, it's just
they just had like
contact.
the eye protection thing.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of weird rules. I remember going to a game in high school and just like, I don't know what's happening.
What is this?
That's how I feel right now.
Good.
Anything about lacrosse.
You're watching. It's like, hey, it's number 1 and number 2. Let's watch what's going on here. Like, this is interesting.
Absolutely. I will love watching college lacrosse. This movie was released July 9th, 1999. They missed it by a couple months. You just doing September 9th, 1999 would have been a great release date. But it's summertime.
Or June 9th.
Yeah. Oh, Ah, they
Ah,
missed
it
it.
would've But if it would have came out on September 9th, it would have conflicted with the release of the Dreamcast, so it never would have worked.
And
Oh,
we
God,
know
that hit
exactly how
console.
much of a difference the Dreamcast made. So
Oh, absolutely.
Listen, I
it
remember
is a great console, but yeah, don't flop it.
in the city I live in, they have like a event where you go and it's called Third Thursday, and you go and there's like vendors and shit going on this like main street, and they had a booth that was hyping up the Dreamcast. And so I went home with like 3 orange Dreamcast shirts. I had a bunch of like
Yeah.
Dreamcast merch. I'm like, I'm gonna get a Dreamcast. Never owned a Dreamcast. I don't even know if I've ever played a Dreamcast.
Had some great football games, dude.
They had
I played most of my games on
great.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
So.
I like the 2Ks. 2K,
Oh, they were
2K1,
good.
2K2
Oh, yeah.
were really
Oh,
good
yeah.
on the Dreamcast. Yeah.
I remember
Fuck
driving to
Madden.
PA to go get one, and we had my dad spent like $1,000 on it.
You did what now?
We drove to PA to pick it up, and when you got to the store, they made you buy the system, extra
Yeah.
controller, 2 memory cards, and 4. It was like 4 games. It was like $1,000 altogether.
Yeah. My cousins had one. They had House.
I like how
Dead
people
too.
complain that consoles are expensive now, and it's like, do you
They were the same.
go
price
back in the day
then.
when
Yeah.
They were.
the PS3
They
was
were.
selling for $800 on release day?
Or
Yep.
or when you bought and tried to buy Neo Geo MVS. No, AES, I'm sorry. That's those were like $800,000-$900,000 for one of the home consoles because it was the same as an arcade cabinet
Yep.
that you just hooked up to your TV. It's ridiculous.
Just remember, everybody, we are talking about a movie at some point in the show. This,
Hey,
had
listen,
a-
you're useless facts. This is useless facts.
I know. This had a runtime of 95 minutes, which is, like I said,
Thank
that's such a
God.
great comedy. Should not be more than an hour and a half. This is a little over, but it's okay. I was
Same
for
okay with it.
I miss the days of 90-minute movies.
Oh, so we watched
so wonderful.
Orphan for our show last week, and that was, I think, only an hour and. Oh no, that was close to 2 hours.
It was 2
Yeah.
hours.
It was
2 hours.
Reanimator that was like an hour and 25 minutes. I was like, perfect.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's a great
beautiful.
movie, but perfect runtime.
Yeah.
The budget was $11 million, and it grossed $235.5 million, which is very
Damn.
much a success, and that's why it spawned so many goddamn sequels and
And
spin-offs.
copycats. Yeah.
Yes, and copycats. So yeah, it was a very much a success because a comedy making that much money with that budget.
Well, let me
Damn.
ask you this: that movie comes out Friday. Like American Pie never existed before. It comes out this Friday. What do you think it grosses?
They wouldn't make it.
I was gonna say, they find a way to get it out. It flops terribly.
They can't make it with some of the things that they do in this movie, which we'll talk about when we go through the plot. It's a lot of problematic stuff in this movie. I think the fact of just the whole point of like these guys want to lose their virginity before they graduate. It's like, but they even state in the movie, they're like, we got to make sure, they're making sure it's not just being fucking weird about it. Like they are
No,
being
it's
weird because
they
they're fucking in
do
high school.
push
They're like, it's
consent,
consent.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
got to be consensual. We can't like force ourselves. Like, good on you for not being a fucking weirdo and creep. But there are some things in this movie that are very, very problematic.
Yeah.
So let's go around the room here and talk about what we thought of American Pie. On our latest viewing, on your first view, talk about your experience with this movie. We're going to start with our guest, Darkraizard.
Well,
Let's
I was
go.
like 13 when it came out. So I remember we had to sneak watch it. Like we didn't go out to theaters to see it. We somehow copped it from like Blockbuster or something, watch it with a couple of my buddies. And when you're 13 and a movie comes out like that and you hear some of those things, it affects a 13-year-old boy. It does.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
in that
Fuck
movie.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, man. I just remember it being funny. I didn't understand any of it until I was probably 17, 18 when I rewatched it again, like what was really going on. But it's a funny movie that ties back. Like if you go back and rewatch it, it doesn't age well, but it ties to the late 90s like perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, Tara Reid and Shannon Elizabeth were like heartthrobs for teenage boys of the late 90s.
Oh, yeah. Shannon Elizabeth would go on to do a little movie after this called Jack Frost 2: Revenge of the Killer Snowman.
I thought she was in the first one. Where it was the shower scene.
Okay,
I'm
maybe
pretty sure
she
it's the
was
first
the
one.
first. She was in one of those two I don't know how to describe them. It's just
Terrible
This
movies.
is not the one with Michael Keaton, I assure you.
No. I watched
That
the
is-
shit out of that movie when I was a kid.
Hey, let me sum up the horror Jack Frost movie for you in one sentence. That's not where a carrot goes.
Well, that's not where
Just
a pie
saying.
goes. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Oh, it always comes back to that pie, dude. You put your dick in a pie. Enough.
Oh. Keep going, Dark. I don't know if you got it.
Oh no, that was really it. I mean, rewatching it again, it's again, like I said, it doesn't age well. There's humor in it, but there's a lot of like, man, I can't believe they like got that in a movie.
Yeah.
Like it like you do think about how the world's progressed and like the things that would never be in movies today, and that's one of those ones you look back on and like, whew, how'd that get out there?
Yeah.
Who greenlit this?
Listen, the Weinsteins were fucking huge back in those days, so it wasn't, if they're fucking greenlighting some of the shit they were doing, this was easily greenlit. Oh, Dan's gone.
He heard something. Lost.
Hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah.
I keep hearing stuff falling over out here.
Oh, I was like,
hell is
what?
going
There's a
on?
cat knocking stuff over out
There
there.
was a cat or one of the kids getting something. I was like, what the shit, dude?
Oh,
Sorry.
I didn't hear
Down up there.
anything.
I will tie up my end of saying that it's even now it's still worth going back and watching. It's still humorous. It's not a bad way on a Friday night. If you're you got nothing to watch, it's a good way to burn 90 minutes and chuckle a little bit.
I agree. All right. I think Angela started last time. So Dan, you get to share your opinions first.
First off,
You get
sorry
to
for
initiate.
interrupting your stuff, Dark,
Nope.
with
No, you're
that
fine.
stuff. Secondly, I'm not above the humor or what is depicted in this film. I don't everybody's different is my opinion. I don't lambast a movie for comments or jokes that were made at a different time because the film was made at a different time. I agree it would not fly today with how people are, but this stuff doesn't bother me. All right.
Oh yeah.
However, no, I'm not just fine. I understand a lot of people are like, this shit wouldn't go over to that. It's fine. It's just I don't care. Like it's just I understand it was from a different time period. But that being said, I remember liking this movie when I was younger. I don't really care much for it now. Like, and again, I'm not above what happens in this film, obviously, for longtime viewers of, viewers, listeners of the podcast. They kind of know how I am. But I don't know, man. Like a lot of it was like there was some parts I kind of chuckled at a little bit, but then some of them just like, sure, why not? And it's been a long. I've not seen this since my late teens, and I was. I'm assuming Dark meant by when you said you watched this. We're approximately the same age because I was about 13 when this came out, and I seen it probably just a little bit after it came out on home video. Obviously, I didn't watch it in theaters or anything like that, so it's probably closer to 14 because VHS took forever to come out at that time, and DVD was still fairly new.
You weren't 13 yet. Came out before your birthday.
It did.
No,
that was when it came out in theater. I didn't see it until it was on tape.
Yeah, I was
It came
I
out
was
when you were
12 when it
12.
released. I didn't see it till I was probably
Yeah.
13.
So I was about 13, 14, so I seen it.
He's younger than me,
Little
so I always pick at him for being younger than me.
I don't know. Anyways, I'm not gonna say nothing anyway. But it just like back then I enjoyed it, and like I just go back and watch it. I don't know. I mean, we were young. We were 13, 14 at the time. We were kind of like we're teenagers. I was what that shit was all about.
Yeah,
As
no,
an adult,
that
it's
was
just
our
like
life. So the beginning, end of middle school, beginning of high school. That was
that was it. So it was all right, I guess. I mean, it had some parts that were humorous. It's a short movie. It's a ridiculous high school movie that's over the top with its cliches and shit. But the cast is fun. Eugene Levy's like the stereotypical ridiculous awkward dad.
yeah.
Stupid situations in this fucking movie, dude. Who just walks in on a dude like who doesn't lock their door when they're rubbing one
He
out?
didn't even shut the door.
Who
at
doesn't
one
shut the
point.
fucking door when he's jacking
I'm
off?
like, dude,
Well,
shut
who
the
needs a
door.
tube sock this big?
Listen, people
We'll talk
do what
about
they
that.
want I just hope to God the damn sock's clean, or you're gonna have a fungal infection. All right, I'm just saying, like, that's not safe practice. But anyway, it's okay. That's all I'm gonna say. It's okay.
It's a movie.
No, it's not. It's not to that degree, mine. Maybe for you. Like, what's this talk about dicks?
Yeah, I'm really
Oh,
excited
okay.
to hear the woman's perspective.
I'm actually surprised there wasn't a dick in this movie. Like, I am shocked there was not a penis in this film.
Dicks are
There's
gross.
boobs.
Oh, is it looking at me? I can't tell.
I think it winked.
I winked. Oh God. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I refused to watch it when it first came out because, as I said, I was in band and I hated the whole. You were in band camp, did you? And I'm like, no.
At one time,
Yeah,
It's not a fucking sex factory, guys.
it
It's
was
a damn movie.
not. We had a ton of fun, and it was nothing was ever sexual.
None of it involved flutes. Carry on.
I'm gonna knock you out. You've already said your piece. I could just hit you and go on. I also wasn't allowed to watch stuff like this, so even if I were to sneak and watch it, I didn't have anywhere to go sneak and watch it.
I had to go to my cousin's house.
No. I was a good kid. I really was. I was a good kid.
This was a watch at a friend's house type of movie until my dad let me rent it when I was way too young. I was like, oh, thanks, Dad.
Oh yeah, we watched it at my house. I remember it vividly the day we watched it.
Ah, them's his titties.
That and I had this weird
Oh,
TV
that's what they look like.
that like the speakers, like you grab them and the TV like
Oh,
opened
dude.
up. Yeah, I remember watching it on that. We were like, okay, we're about to see
I'm not
movies.
Oh, so that's why they call it the boob tube.
Yeah, that's why.
I ran out and bought tube socks after that movie.
Oh, damn! I need. Does the color matter? Does the fabric?
Mom, I need socks.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, okay, you guys brought this upon
I
yourself.
did. I did.
Like, really didn't matter what we picked. I don't
No.
think.
No.
No.
Listen, the other one of the choices, I was really hoping for Fast Times because my girl Baby Kate's is in it, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That's actually a really good movie too. Like I like that movie a lot.
I remember that being turned on at my aunt's house, and you know how stuck up they are.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I remember being at my aunt's house and that movie turned me on.
Well,
So-
there was a couple of scenes that happened, and we're like, "Granny, you need to leave," because I knew what was happening.
Dark's
She didn't know what was happening. I'm like, "Granny, cover your eyes."
like goes sitting down at the table, goes to stand up.
Well, that's it.
No.
Well, the thing for me was when I
Give me a
was
minute.
when I was a kid, I watched Gremlins for the first time when I was really young, and I loved Phoebe Cates in that movie. And I was like, oh, is this like what a crush is? Like, I think she might have been one of my first crushes. And she is like, I think she's probably in her 60s now, maybe pushing 60. But hey, who cares? She's still gorgeous. But I just remember seeing Fast Times after that. I was like, wait, that's her. What is she doing?
My childhood.
It's like, I have now reached puberty.
You are a man.
My voice dropped while watching that scene.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God. Angela, you have anything else you want to say before we move on?
Sorry, we hijacked your.
I'm used to it,
Oh.
especially from you.
That's fair.
No, I still hate Tara Reid. Sorry.
Oh God, dude, she's just.
I didn't like her in this either, so.
Hey,
I
she
never was a
somehow
fan.
got into Cornell, so
It got
Yeah.
worse seeing her in Sharknado, and I was
Oh.
She
It's just-
yeah, she didn't age well.
No.
But yeah, I never thought she was a good actress at all, ever. Like, her line deliveries are so just ugh. Like, God, she's so boring. No
Yeah.
offense, Tara Reid, but you're boring in this movie. I would have rather you did like have Allison Hannigan in here way longer than she was, because she's a lot more exciting.
or imagine that movie if they cast Cameron Diaz instead of Tara Reid.
Oh, God damn, Cameron Diaz back in the day.
Mm.
Her in Dan's favorite movie, The Mask. God damn.
Oh, that's a classic.
God
it was a
damn.
good movie.
I know.
I like that movie.
It's-
You're just
Yeah.
wrong.
I'll gladly accept that.
I mean, it's the least favorite of the Jim Carrey movies of mine, but I still think it's a funny movie.
It's good.
Just don't watch Son of the Mask. It's not good.
Oh, I have.
Oh, I have too. It's not good.
I've also watched Son of Pet Detective.
No. You mean
They
Ace
made him-
Ventura Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh
They
god.
made
I think it is Ace Ventura Jr. I just call it Son of Pet Detective because it's equally as bad as Son of Mask.
Jeez. Oh, jeez. But yeah, I would not watch it. I probably wouldn't watch it again. I mean, I chuckled at parts because, I'm a child. But
That's why we're doing this episode.
I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't watch it again.
Oh, I laughed a lot watching it I watched it last night. I laughed a lot during the movie. There are a lot of problematic things in it. But I remember watching it as a kid because this movie came out when I was like 8, so I didn't see it until probably around when the second one came out, probably, or maybe even close to American Wedding is when I started getting into the movies. And I remember watching them back in the day and going, damn, Stifler is hilarious. He's the best. And then I watched it last night. I'm like, Stifler fucking sucks. This character sucks.
When you're in middle school and high school, that's who you want to be. But once you get out, you realize that guy's
he's the worst. If I ever met anyone like that, I would immediately just walk away. Nope, never talking to you again. You're the worst. And his character doesn't get any better throughout the movies. He's the same guy in all 4 movies. And
I still like his random nicknames, fuckface and shitbrick.
Shitbrick.
Like what?
I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think Sean William Scott does a great job as this character. I think, this is his first movie, and they just told him to I don't know if they just told him to be him. If this was just how he was, I don't know, but he goes off. He's just constantly at 120% the entire time. And I will give him props for that. But the character of Stifler, he's just so bad. He's such a terrible character. Oh, Lord. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I laughed. My wife actually I caught my wife just peeking around the corner, watching some scenes and laughing. She's like, what the fuck are you watching?
Like, get out of here. You're too young for this.
Yeah.
Push her away.
But yeah, I don't think I'll ever watch this again. I think this is my last viewing. It's just not a rewatchable film in this time and age. And I'll say that with a lot of movies I've watched recently. I've been watching a lot of Netflix, not to go on another side tangent, but I've been watching a lot of Netflix movies recently. And goddamn, there is not one movie that is I would watch that again. It's just that. I feel movies that's what a lot of movies are nowadays, and that's just how I felt about watching this. I was like, this was funny. This was good. Yeah.
Content.
But most of them aren't even original anymore. It's like, oh, let's redo this movie, or we're gonna, stitch a couple movies together.
Yeah.
And make
maybe at the end of this, I'll do a little little reviews on some of the movies I've watched over the last 3 days. We'll do a little quick thing there. But to go into the changes they had to make this a rated R movie.
Oh yeah.
There was 5 different things they had to do. So the main reason for the NC-17 rating was the pie scene. In the original version, you see Jim fucking the pie, and I guess
too many thrusts.
Too many thrusts. And so they had to cut it down to get that R rating.
You get 3.
And he only got 2.
2
things.
I mean, 2 pump jump. Yeah, there you go.
That's how it goes, yeah.
During the wacky porn scene, which is the opening of this movie.
Whoa.
Where he's watching the bad reception porn, which listen, I feel most guys in that time were doing the same thing. They were trying to find anything.
If you squint, you can see a boob.
Bang my hairy ass.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. So I guess there was dirtier dialogue during this scene. So there was "Ride Me Like a Pony" originally was blow your wad on my tits.
Yes.
Also, the line "Spank my hairy ass" was originally "Play with my hairy balls."
There you go.
So I guess those were the changes.
Dude. One of the best lines I've ever heard in a pornography is, "But I poop from there." Not now, you don't.
Jeez. Oh man.
Oh God, what have we done?
Oh,
What have we done?
Oh
No. Oh
old
God.
memes.
So
Old memes.
during
Austin
the
remembers that one.
during the scene where Stifler swigs the ejaculated beer, which is it made me a little upset to my
I
stomach.
was like, please
Fruit
don't
soda.
drink
There
it.
So the line in the movie is, "Hey Stifler, how's the pale ale?" which is a great line. But the original line was, "Hey Stifler, how's the man chowder?" And I guess man chowder just wasn't a good term to use.
That's
at the
a
time.
W replacement though, because I feel like the pale ale line is
Oh, it's a great
pretty
line.
iconic,
It's like a
actually.
great
It's a good line. Yeah, it's a good
And
line.
God, the visuals. I think the fact that it's like,
Oh.
I think the fact that it's like, the cup is there with Kevin's, man juice in it. And then the whole time what Stifler has in his hand, and it just shows the shit floating in it. You're like,
So
and you just
apparently
constantly
it was
like,
egg
just don't do
whites?
it. Yes. Yeah.
But what kind of dirtbag? Like, I know it's episode 69, so I think we could talk about these things. We've been at parties and, maybe not all of us, but had those things happen and weird stuff like, sexual encounters at parties. And I don't think I've once ever like left my man juice somewhere and just like, all right, I'm just leaving it there.
See you later,
walking
guys.
out of the room. This isn't my bedroom, but here you go. Like, what kind of dirtbag does that?
We got nowhere else to put it. The beer's the choice.
Yeah, and I'm gonna leave the beer on the nightstand. It's like
rude ass guests, man.
Jesus Christ. The scene where Nadia is pleasuring herself with the porno magazines, I guess they had to they couldn't show her actually putting her hands in her pants. It was too much. They had to like edit it. Angela looks so comfortable right now. She is enjoying every bit of this episode. Angela, if you want to walk away, it's okay. She is.
No,
she looks like she is like, I don't know what I've done.
I'm like, I'm trying to be choosy.
Just the sound.
Don't worry.
It threw me off. Like, wait a minute.
She's not normally used to this. She usually just reads the articles. So carry on.
I love that they added that line. She's all about the art. She's the article. Oh Lord! And I guess the scene where Kevin goes down on Vicky is a little. The original was a little too long, and she moaned too much, so they had to cut that down. That scene is great too, where the dad comes up, I'm coming. Okay. Just walks back downstairs. See, like that shit was funny. It's like there was some, like I said, there was some problematic things, but like something like that is great because it all fits together. It's like you don't see anything. It's all consensual.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you uncomfortable.
It's not like
at least it didn't make me uncomfortable. Oh my God.
Definitely not
about
Reanimator.
a fucked up going down scene. Watch Reanimator.
Right.
So
we did.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Correct. Dark was there in spirit.
Sure. I was.
What's the actress who played Nadia? What's her name? Shannon
Elizabeth. Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah.
So she pretty much credits that whole scene, her nudity scene and the whole scene of her in Jim's bedroom to how her career went. She said like if that scene never happened, she probably wouldn't have a career, which is kind of sad if you think about it. It's like a girl had to like this woman had to show off her body in order for her to get more jobs. It's just that's how Hollywood still does that shit.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Shows the fucked up things with Hollywood.
Yep, it's true facts.
They did film the scene though. The way that nude scenes are filmed weird. Yeah, we're gonna get into this. So it's pretty much they have to have only a certain amount of people in the room or in the vicinity of the shot. It's so I think it's only like 2 people along with the person performing. So like I think actually in this one it was her and then the director and then the boom operator, which is how it should be. Because there's been I've read some stories about some actresses who have done nude scenes in movies, even
The
recently,
whole damn
where you
cast
had
is
to like, there
there.
was like 25 people here. Like, that's just,
Yeah.
that's fucking weird.
Well, Reanimator.
Unnecessary. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
lady was naked in front of however many.
That's not anything I'm thinking of right now.
Oh.
So there's
Sometimes
a
we just don't
GIF.
ask.
No, please, I'm telling. So there's a GIF. There's a GIF on the
Don't
internet
care.
behind the scenes, like porn bloopers. They're fucking hilarious. Anyway, there's a scene where this dude, it's one guy recording this lady and this bro going at it, right? And the cameraman's just recording him eating a donut.
Yes, I've
Just
seen
recording
that.
it. Yes, and he just leans in, gives
Yeah.
the guy a donut. He eats it very seductively, and the lady just looks like there's no fucking clue what's going on.
What is going on?
Yes, carry on. That's
Oh,
exactly the
Nah, it
whole time.
wasn't the
I'm just
only
like,
nut eating that day.
but up.
Oh,
Yes, thank you.
So,
But I'm glad they did that though. I'm glad
Alright.
they restrict the personnel in
Yeah.
those scenes.
It's when it's done right, then
Tasteful.
it's tasteful. There you go. That's a better word. All right, we are ready to talk about this plot.
Let's bomb through this. Come on, let's go.
Whoa, what's your rush? I'm the one who should be rushing here. I gotta wake up in like 6 hours to go to Disney, baby.
Ooh.
Remember to say hi on the way. by.
Jealous.
I will. I'll wave to you guys.
You better
Be like,
wave
where-
as
I'll
you
be like,
fly by.
pilot, where are we? Tennessee? Hey guys.
Yeah.
There he is.
Oh my god.
Seat B7. Like, no, I'm just kidding.
I mean, there's a lot of planes that fly over our house, so you could be one of them.
All right, so this movie opens to our main character. I don't know if is he the main character, or do we
Jim?
have the ensemble? Is it an
I have an
ensemble?
ensemble.
movie?
I think Jim's the main focus, though.
Yeah, I guess. Well, we see Jim, and he's doing what any teenage boy at the time was doing in his room by himself, trying to watch porn on his
Feeding the
TV.
geese.
And yeah, and unfortunately though, he doesn't lock his goddamn door. And his
What's
mom just
wrong with this guy?
walks right.
Ever.
I mean, maybe he's in a household where the parents were just not about letting their kids lock their door. I know a lot of parents are like that. When they're teenagers.
Yeah, but let's be honest, guys. All of us, all right, everybody. When you're like alone doing the thing, or even when you're with somebody, you are kind of at like a heightened sense of awareness.
Yeah. You're
You're
always like,
who
who the
is
fuck was that? What the
what's
fuck was
noise?
that?
Did somebody
Hello?
deliver the mail?
It's the spidey sense of shame, is what it is.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
Hello? Yeah, he's got everything, with him. He's got the sock, the lotion, I think. I don't fucking know. I wasn't like taking inventory on everything Jim had. But he's watching, it's literally,
Taking
when you
notes.
watch an old tube TV and you're trying to get this reception, but the picture keeps like moving and flipping and you can barely see anything. He's trying real fucking hard. No pun intended, to see that porn. He was at one point, he's like, oh, there's a boob. But his mom walks in. She just stays in there way too long. She's trying to help him with the TV. And then Jim's dad comes in. And it just gets really weird until one of them knocks the blanket off and notices what he's doing. And they're like, oh my God.
Yeah, he's like, I'm watching a nature show.
Yeah. Until it starts saying words. Yeah, speak
Remote
my
stops
hairy
working.
ass. What?
Take my hairy ass.
And yeah, that's how this movie opens. It's a lot. Well, actually, the movie opens before we even see anything. It's just moaning. It's just sex sounds.
Yeah.
It's a lot. The next scene is Jim and Kevin, or no, it's Oz. Kevin and Oz walking into school, and you just get the whole thing. It was like, hey, did you watch The Little Mermaid last night? Ariel's hot. And I was like, I don't know if I've ever had that conversation with my friends.
No.
Listen, Jim, she's a child. You fucking weirdo. And Kevin and Vicky are a thing that's I can't remember the actor's name who plays Kevin, but that guy and Tara Reid, they're a couple. She says, I love you. And he's like, cool. Just one of those moments.
Yeah.
I can't reciprocate.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. But everything is about Stifler's party. Everybody's excited. I guess Stifler's house is the place to be, even though he is the worst. We meet the whole group together. We got Oz, Jim, Kevin, Finch, and that's it. Oh, and Stifler. I don't know if I really count Stifler as being part of that group. I feel like he's just the guy who has the parties.
Yeah,
he's like an orbiting body. They even mentioned
he
the movie,
becomes
like,
part of the group.
Like, why do you think we stayed friends with Stifler so long? Because he has parties. Like, that was it.
Yeah, but like Dark just said, in the later movies, he becomes part of the group. Like he is part. I know he is part of Jim's wedding. He's part of the reunion movie, like as the friend part of that group. And they call him the Stiffmeister. My God, this guy's such a tool fuck.
I don't think anybody actually
no, he calls himself that.
Yeah,
no, he calls himself that. He's just
like Shermanator.
That's the best character in the movie.
Guy.
And that's our Terminator reference that we can't get the fuck away from.
We can't escape Terminator. Fuck. We then have the conversation. They go to this little hole in the wall restaurant to eat. They're talking about, the fact that they can't get laid.
What is the name of that restaurant?
Oh,
does anybody remember?
I can't remember. I know it's a real. It's a real restaurant. Couldn't get the word out.
Shenanigans.
Huh?
I said it's not shenanigans.
It's not that place. Hey, Farva, what's the name of that place with the cheese sticks and all the goofy shit on the wall?
Shenanigans?
I love that in the movie Waiting, that's the name of the restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah. That's such a good movie.
Bitch.
Yes,
that was a good movie.
Dude, you give him the goat? The Batwing?
The Batwing.
So after they leave, Jim's like, hey guys, what is third? Because he knows that that Oz and Kevin have been to third base, but they haven't gone all the way. And so Jim, who hasn't really done anything, asks, what does third base feel like? And Oz goes, it's like a warm apple pie. Oh, this doesn't get any better, everybody. We are 45 minutes into this bitch. It ain't getting any better. Whew. We find out Oz is hooking up with a college girl. That doesn't last long. And now it's a party.
Ooh.
And Oz strikes out real fast with this girl. He tries to say, he literally uses the line, suck me beautiful.
Suck me beautiful.
Did anyone actually use that line?
In this scene, though, there's at least the writers, I mean, maybe it was forcefully put in there, but put in like, respect women when the message was hidden in there in the movie.
Because she's like, do you think that's attractive? Like, do you think that's...
She starts laughing at him.
Yeah. I was like, good for you. Because, here's the thing is like Oz, in the beginning of this movie, you kind of want to hate him. You're like, this guy's a fucking scumbag. And then later in the movie, you're like, oh, Oz is kind of the best, like, all
he's
around.
He's just trying to fit in with the bros, but he's a romantic.
But he actually falls in love with the person that he hooks up with later in the movie. Like, it's not just like I hooked up with her to sleep with her. It's I actually fell in love with her. So yeah, they're at the party. He gets rejected. Stifler makes fun of him for his awesome line. And Kevin, this is when Kevin gets his head wet. And puts his man juice in a full cup of beer. The fuck are you wasting beer like that for? You're in high school. You're lucky you were able to get it.
It probably still tastes better than Natty Light, though.
I'm drinking good old Miller Lite for this episode. I feel it was on point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Stifler comes in because he thinks he's going to hook up with a girl. It doesn't turn out that way. So Stifler, who just picks up a random person. Did you do that at parties? I wasn't much of a party guy in high school, but I don't recall being like, oh, look, a random beer on a fucking end table. I'm going to just pick it up and start drinking it, knowing it's not mine.
I was the guy at a party. Even if you handed me a bottle of liquor, I still did that thing that,
oh, yeah.
Before you drink it.
Yeah. I'm the guy who still does that to tops of cans.
Yeah.
All the time. People still
like.
There were some people who've asked me that, like, why do you do that? I was like, 'cause you know what's on this shit.
I take my shirt and I rub the top of the can.
Oh. So yeah, so Stifler gets rejected and drinks a whole cup of beer filled with man juice and then throws up. But you also get the line of Kevin coming in going, "Hey Stifler, how's the pale ale?" And I was like, that's good. I laughed at that.
Fuck you, Stifler.
He throws up on the ground. I love to see where Jim's like talking to this other guy. And the fucking girl comes down, just throw up all over her. Oh god!
Yeah, wasn't he talking about like how good he is with like English language or some shit? Like they're just going back. He's like naming random large words.
Yeah,
it was some nerdy conversation. Yeah.
Well, this is when so
That's
he has
me
a
at a
thing
party,
for.
by the way, just talking to just another guy. Like it was like I don't talk to nobody else.
No, I'm in the corner not talking to anybody.
Yeah, so Jim has a thing for Nadia. She's the foreign exchange student from the now Czech Republic, and yeah, he goes up to her and just doesn't know what to say. He does the awkward thing. He walks up and just starts laughing, even though he has no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And then they find out that this geeky guy named Sherman, or the Shermanator, he's about to hook up with a girl, and they're like, how the fuck did that guy end up getting with a girl but not us?
That's where they make the vow.
Yep. Well, no, that's in a little bit.
Oh,
but
yeah,
we meet all the people around. We meet John Cho's character, who sees the picture of Stifler's mom. Is that Stifler's mom, man? She's a
Chick's a MILF.
Yeah, what's MILF stand for? Mother, I'd like to fuck. It's part of the movie, everybody. Don't be too bad.
It is.
And Kevin is an idiot, fucking walks into the room with his girlfriend and says, man, I just want to get laid. And she's like, fucking whatever, and just walks out. And you're like, oh, good job, idiot. So Sherman gets lucky. And they're all like, you know what? We need to make a pact. We need to get laid before graduation. Everybody's on board. And we get a couple montages in this movie. This one is the getting laid preparation montage, where they're getting condoms and just everything to get ready for whenever the time comes. And we get the awesome. Oh no, wait, that's in a couple minutes. We get Vicky tries to. What the fuck? Oh no, Jessica. Jessica's Vicky's friend. I got her and Vicky mixed up, like their names. Jessica is her friend, played by Natasha
Leon.
Yeah, she's in. Was it Russian Doll, which is like this big show that she's on Netflix.
And she's in Orange Is the New Black.
Orange Is the New Black.
Right. Yes. She was in Blade, fucking Trinity. She was the blind woman.
Oh, that's why she looked
kid.
fucking familiar. Yeah, damn it.
Yeah. There we go. She's great though. I like Jessica. She's, you gotta have. I feel like she was also like, once this character came out, more movies that came out later had this same character. Like, not of course this actress, but like the same type. It was like she's that really tough woman who doesn't fuck around type deal.
No.
You're like, okay. But she's great. But yeah, she tries to help Kevin out, pretty much talking about orgasms and stuff. And Oz joins the choir to get girls, pretty much. At least that's what you think at first. And then Stifler shows up, makes fun of him for that. We get the
How dare you be comfortable with your masculinity and join choir?
Yeah.
Right.
We get the great father and son chat with Jim and his dad. Where Jim's dad buys a bunch of pornos, and it's all like starts from like Playboys, which is like very mild, to what is it, Hustler, and then there's like he's like this one I'm not too familiar with this one, but as you can see, it's
this
just
like
a
shaved.
It's like a blossomed flower, and I'm like, oh my god.
So that's the one with that referenced last episode.
Right.
And I was like, this one is shaved. I'm not too familiar with this book. Like, oh, thank you. Then we talked about our porn locations.
Yeah.
Or our porn magazines.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. I don't know if this is something I'm going to have to bleep out, but he goes, do you know what a clitoris is? And Jim's like, yes, Dad, I know what it is.
Nature's Rubik's Cube.
I'm going to wonder why I get it. I'm going to literally look back at the analytics of this episode and be like, I wonder why there's no views on this episode.
No. We're discussing this surely in a scientific and factual manner.
You're right.
That's all we're doing.
It is okay.
You stated the part of the body correctly in a safe way, I feel. An educational.
Yeah. Okay. So Jim's dad discovers all the condoms in his drawer, and when he leaves, he's got one on his ass.
I didn't notice that.
Doesn't he make that underhanded comment? He's like, it's better than a tube sock.
That's right. He does. Yes, he does. Yeah. So Kevin, he talks a big game about Finch, because I guess false information has been passed around the school about Finch, about how he's got a big unit and all other things that you'll find out later.
I actually kind of like that. Like, I don't know if this was. I know that they kind of explained a little bit, but this just feels like that whole thing when you tell one person and the same information goes through like 50 people and it changes by the end.
Telephone. It's telephone. Also, Finch does not like taking shits at school. That is something that will come back.
I think we can all relate with that, though.
Oh,
yeah, he's a shy pooper.
Not me. Nope. If I have to take a shit, it's anywhere I am. I'm at work.
That's me.
I'm getting paid. All right. So
that
I'm
corner back there.
Yeah, that corner back. If I gotta go, I gotta go. Listen, I told the story. I've told the story. I'm gonna tell it again since this is episode 69. Actually, I didn't tell this story on an episode because I edited it out because it was when everybody was taking a bathroom break. I got really drunk one time and I lived in the attic of the house I was living in, and it was a bad night. I puked everywhere and I had to take a mean shit. Well, the bathroom was the next floor down. I was like, I am not making it down there because I might die, because I might trip, fall down the stair. Something would have broke. So there was a window in this empty room in the attic on the other and the neighbor's side of the house, which I used to use all the time to, you take a piss or something. It's not that big of a deal. But let's just say I painted the house brown.
Oh, God.
What happened? I don't know. Just some animal.
I remember walking home from school one day, or walking home from my now wife's house because she lived down the street, and I was like, oh my God.
Whoa, dude. 12 feet. That's a record.
Holy shit. Holy shit, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I figured, fuck it. It's episode 69. I'm going to tell that story.
Speaking of that, I have an important question for all of you at the end of this.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
So Kevin,
relevant.
He needs help. He needs help trying to get laid because he seems like he's getting nowhere. So he calls his brother. And who's his fucking brother? Casey Affleck. I did not even know he was in this movie. I was like, what? Ben Affleck's little brother. He asks him about advice, and he tells him about the sex holy grail. It's literally a book with all the tips and tricks you could ever want about everything sexual. The tongue tornado. Oz impresses his choir teacher and Heather, which is the girl that he ends up being with in this movie during the choir scene. Mina Suvari. I probably fucking mispronounced her name. And so now it's time to get to know her. And they, it's a good one. You get that quick oh, you're disgusting, and then it's back to normal again. I like the way that these two's relationship goes. I think it's my favorite out of any of the characters in this movie because I could not stand Kevin and fucking Vicky. Oh my God.
Well, their relationship has a typical 90s rom-com kind of back and forth through it, unlike everything else.
I think it's more Vicky. I'm just not a fan of that character and Tara Reid.
That's very fair.
That's totally fair.
This is when we get the infamous pie scene. Jim gets home from school and he notices Mom baked a nice warm pie just
Apple
for
pie.
him. And he's like, Jim, at least take it upstairs, bro. Take it to your bedroom. Take it to the bathroom.
Really?
Why are you doing it in the kitchen?
Because the movie calls for it.
I guess.
No shame.
Yeah.
Better question.
Dark, these are the questions I have to ask, okay? These are the questions I have to ask. Go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
This is just me speaking. No, I'm sorry. I compartmentalize heavy. I'm either hungry or I want to have sex, but not both. It does not intermingle. But
I don't know, man.
But why would you waste that pie, dude?
That's the thing.
Go jack off in the sock. Why would you waste that pie?
If it came to, I don't know if I could fucking a piece of food. It's just it's weird and it's waste of food. I like to eat. I want to eat.
I'm right there
food,
with you. I was like,
not
dude,
stick my dick in it.
I'd walk in oh, sweet a pie. I'm gonna eat that later, but I better go rub one out first. That's not my train of thought. I'm gonna fuck that apple.
See, normally that's what happens. Is I come home and I go, man, that looks good, and just the sight of the food makes me horny. So it's okay.
So
not because of what somebody told me about the apple
hot roast.
The TikTok that I was watching yesterday about the potato.
What?
So apparently, instead of using a condom, these people cut off the end of a potato and used it as a contraceptive.
Did they
and it got stuck.
They probably were baked.
Yeah, they probably were baked. And
no, it was the potato baked. Because
I
potatoes
don't
are
know.
hard.
Like just
Yeah. But apparently, this doctor was having to go fish it out.
Parker, I love this. I'm sorry. It's 100% worth it.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, what? No, I heard you. I heard you.
I'm sorry.
It's people are just fucking weird.
People are people.
I mean, holes is holes.
Holes is holes, dude.
Ah,
20
that's
They're
true.
gonna put things in it that aren't supposed to go there.
So yeah, so he starts off, you know, with the fingers, and then his dad walks into him, and he's just going to fucking town on this thing. The fact
Raw
that he
dogging
had
it.
it, the fact that he had the pie at a 90-degree angle as he's fucking it, like, how did the pie stay in the pan?
Really?
That's
Why did he turn
that's
around? I just been like,
like, Dad,
turns around. This isn't
This
what
is
it looks like. Why does it?
Dad, this is exactly what it looks like. I'm fucking this pie.
I mean,
Okay.
especially what it looks like afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh Lord. And then they have that really awkward thing where they both sit down at the table, and it's like, and Jim's dad's just like, "Oh, we could just tell your mom we ate it all." It's so good. Oh. This is when we then go to Kevin looking through the book and finding all like the different things that he can do to Vicky. And then we get Lacrosse, bro.
Yay.
And Heather watches Oz score the game winner. I've had some of those.
I just want to make you
Um,
needed to record an episode of this just explaining how lacrosse works.
I
Lacrosse with Parker.
dude, the way that the rules change in lacrosse every fucking year, I don't even know if I could explain it now.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Fair
And
enough.
I coached it for 10 years, and there was times where I'd argue with a ref, and he'd be like, "You're wrong," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then I'd look
I
at the
could
rule book,
be.
and I'm like, "Oh, I am wrong," because they fucking changed it for the 4th time.
Yeah.
I digress. She asks Oz to prom, but then as she walks away, Stifler's being a fucking idiot, and Oz, I guess, smiles, and she gets pissed about that. And I was like, okay.
Sure.
I mean, we should all know that Stifler's a piece of shit, and I think she
Mhm.
should have known that Stifler was a piece of shit. The fact that, like, he smiled while he was doing it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Offended.
I get it. Kevin, we then get Kevin using his knowledge, his research of the book to perform on Vicky, to return the favor. And boy, is it good, I guess, because she is loud. And I like how he's like in the middle of it and he stops. He's got to like flip through the pages,
Yeah,
and then he
flip
finds
the
the tongue
pages.
tornado. And then he's like,
You
and
really
like-
should have indexed these out better with like fucking post-it notes or
And
something.
this is when the dad goes up with the mom's like, "Hey, can you go? We gotta go get Vicky for dinner." And he's like, "Oh," yeah. And he goes up the stairs, and this is when she goes like, I'm coming. And he's like, "Okay," and just
okay.
wanders back down the stairs. I love it though, where he's just like, it was that like General Fears is like, your door doesn't have a lock on it. Anyone can walk
Nobody's
in.
door has a fucking lock on.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Really nobody's door's locked. Period.
Oh Lord, this is when we get another great conversation between Jim and his dad, and he talks about stroking the salami. That was his term.
Yes.
Oh God, it's every conversation. It's Eugene Levy, fucking so good. Oh Lord. The next scene is Oz meeting up with Heather, and she's all pissed off at him, and he doesn't know why. And then I guess they break up, or they never work together. I don't fucking know at this point.
Yeah,
But
they
it
were
was,
really
like, it was
together
really quick. He was
eventually.
just like, he's still at the end, just like, the fuck. Even after she tells him what he did, and he's like, I don't think I did that, but all right. Stifler talks Jim into, this was the problematic scene. Well, at least the setup to the problematic scene, which is they're in the library talking about the fact, that Nadia came to Jim and asked about studying with him, and he's all about it. And so they're in the library talking, and Stifler's like, "Oh, you should record it. You should have your webcam up on your computer and record it, her being there, because maybe something will happen." And he's like, "Yeah." It's like, nah, it's not good. During choir, Oz volunteers to duet with Heather, because I guess Heather's not a good singer, because she really wasn't. I guess the actress
No.
did her own singing, and I was like, I could tell she's not that great. And to be honest, Oz isn't that great either. And he offers to duet. And there's always that douchebag guy standing next to him like, fuck, man. Every time. I just want to do something. And this is when we get the scene where Jim is in his room and Nadia comes over. Nadia comes into the room and she's like, oh, I got to change. And it's like, why don't you look fine, but whatever. So Jim has everything set up. And when she's in there changing, he runs to one of the guys' house. I don't know whose house this was. But he was supposed to send links to just certain people who would be able to see it. But you find out later he sent it to the entire school's directory. So everyone sees this. And yeah, this is the scene where she strips down and then she discovers his porno book. So she starts pleasuring herself. And so they're like, this is your prime opportunity to go back and to try something. And you do the really weird strip scene where he's stripping down, which I thought was pretty funny.
It was funny.
And she's into it. And then she tells him to get into bed, and then she touches him and he's done. He comes. And it was like, oh, Stifler's brother, though.
Was like, that's
Stifler's brother is even worse than fucking Stifler. This little fucker. So,
yeah.
Did he just?
He's like dancing with him.
This is just not good. Yeah, this scene alone could not be done ever again, unless for the purposes of it being like just the fact that it's creepy. It would have to put out that like I feel in 1999 when they filmed this wasn't creepy. This was just, oh, this is what teenagers would do, right? Like if they had this opportunity, they would try to like set something up so everyone could see it. Nowadays, it's just weird and wrong.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that. Yeah. But yeah, so he's like, oh no, I'm good. I can go again. I'm already recharged. And then she's fully naked and she goes to put his hand in her cooch and it's over. It's over.
Done. Tap.
Yeah. 2 times. That is quick, man. Like this dude has been so fucking like he has probably been backed up for years.
Which I don't understand how, because he was just fucking an apple pie.
I know, right? And he's probably masturbating a lot. Holy shit. And Heather catches Oz practicing his solo for the duet that they're doing. So she's like, oh, maybe he is, not such a douchebag.
Not a douchebag.
And Nadia gets sent home over the whole live stream thing because everybody saw it, including
Blink-182.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Which they miscredited in the credits. They put Scott Rayner, the original drummer,
instead of Travis Barker.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah. And this is when we meet. We saw. What's Allison Hannigan's character's name? Michelle. We met Michelle earlier in like a quick scene where they walk by her and she's talking about playing the flute. And this is where they're in class after everything happens. Everybody's making fun of Jim and all that, and they're in class. And this is where she's talking about, oh, that one time at band camp, and just keeps on going with it until he's just like, oh yeah, and asks her to the prom. And she's like, yeah, okay.
Why not?
Yeah, we get the meet up with Oz and Heather at his work. This is one of those scenes where it's just like they have this deep this is probably the deepest part of this movie. It's just like this deep conversation about how they're going to be going to school close together and they can really make this work. And it really seems like you're not a dickhead. And you're like, all right, cool. I like the way this is all moving. Stifler pretty much gets told he doesn't have a date to the prom because the girl's just like, yeah, no, not happening.
Yeah.
Also, it was the fact that there was a rumor going around that Finch beat the shit out of Stifler. And so Stifler's like, what the fuck is going on here? So, and after Stifler goes away, I think it's Kevin meets up with Jessica again, and Jessica tells Kevin that Finch paid her $200 for her to make up things about him, like positive things, like about him having a big unit, the fact that he beat the shit out of Stifler, and all that. So we then it's the conflicting thing where Oz finds out that his lacrosse game is the same day as the singing competition. And it's always one of those things where he goes to Heather and tells her that, he can't miss the game. It's his last game. It's a senior year, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, okay, that's fine. And you're like,
it's not fine.
Okay. No,
none of this is fine.
No.
It says it's fine. It's not fine.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks. And then, he leaves. This is when Stifler gets back at Finch for the bullshit, and he gives him laxatives because Finch can't shit at school, but he's going to have to. And he opens the door. He tells it, hey, come on in.
Yep.
And he takes a mean shit in the ladies' room. And he gets made fun of for it, but it was one of those things like, I didn't know this was the ladies' room. And to be honest, if I really had to go, and let's just say the boys' room is full, I'm going to go in the I'm going to, if in that situation, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
And not in a creepy way. I want to see, no, I got to take a shit.
Yep.
But yeah, he gets it pretty much blackballs him for the rest of the movie. No one wants to talk to him or go to the prom with him because the fact that he took a shit in the ladies' room. I don't know. I don't think it was the best thing they could have done to get him.
It's whatever.
No, he could have been caught beating it in the bathroom or something.
Yeah. I think that would have even been a little too far.
Not for this movie.
Yeah. We get the scene where Kevin and Vicky are on the bed, and Vicky's like, okay, if we're gonna do this, but I need to hear it from you. And she says, I love you. And he goes, oh, I thought that we were gonna have sex. She's like, it's always sex with you. And he's like, but that's what I want. My balls are so blue. Come on, Vicky.
That's what he makes us.
Do you have any idea who he is? He was Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, exactly.
Rowan Gardner.
And he makes this compelling argument about he's not just going to tell her he loves her just for the sake of telling her he loves her.
Yeah.
Which is also a valid point. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not faulting. I say all that. I'm not faulting Vicky for not wanting to have sex with him. Whatever. That's her own choice. I'm just fuck him. Fuck Kevin. No, Kevin needs to simmer the fuck down. But it's one of those things just oh my God. What are we doing here? Where is this relationship going? I feel like we're just doing this all fucking time. So it's time for the big game. Oz gets fucking laid the fuck out in this game. And he's on the bench, and the coach is giving this speech and pretty much opens Oz's eyes. He's like, oh, well, I'm getting the fuck out of here, and just fucking leaves the game.
Yeah.
And goes to the singing competition. Is that one guy who's going to replace him? He's like, yeah, fucking pumped. And then Oz shows up. He's like, fuck.
Yep.
God damn it.
Lost this moment in the sun.
Yep. And so they have this awful duet. It's not good. I was like, if they won this competition, I would not want to hear any of the other competitors because this was not good.
Nobody else showed up. It was just their team.
Yeah.
We get the conversation between Jess and Vicky. I wish there was more Jess and Vicky. I like their friendship they had. But they don't show
Vicky
it enough.
In general.
Yeah. No, more Jess. I like Jessica.
Oh, that's what I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Got enough for her.
Confused up.
No, I like Jessica, and they have the conversations, and Jessica's like, just you got to do it. She pretty much helps her, and you get the whole the question of does it hurt? And it's yeah, at first, but once you do it over and over and over and over and over, she's like, okay, I get it. And she's like, well, we're gonna do it at prom. It's all right. And then we get the getting ready for prom montage. You get the really everybody's getting ready for prom, and you got Finch on the bench just being all sad. And you're like, poor Finch. all he needs to do is take a shit.
I like Finch.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm glad he gets what he gets in this movie. Even though the actor in this movie at the time was only 17, which we'll get to that in a little bit. And Jim's dad is fucking great. It's just more of Jim's dad being fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Just more of Eugene Levy being Eugene Levy.
The whole thing was just be careful when you put on. He's like, the corsage. And he's like, oh, I thought you were going to say condom. He's like, well, that too.
Speaking of him, though, I guess he almost quit the movie. He got into a fight with the director. He wanted to improv all of his stuff, and he almost left over that debate. Which, good thing they let him, because I think those are some of the funniest moments in the entire movie.
Yeah,
so good. And again, if you haven't seen Schitt's Creek, watch Schitt's Creek. It's Eugene Levy and his equally as hilarious son, and a couple other people who are just as funny. Catherine O'Hara, hilarious.
There you go.
So it's time to prom. That's my note. All the guys but Kevin and all the guys but Kevin are just over the pact. They're just over it. Kevin's like, he's like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. And Jim just gets to the point. He's like, to be honest, it's just getting to the point where I don't even like sex anymore. I don't even care. I've never even done it, and I don't like it.
His life's just slowly turning to shame. All of those.
So good. Jessica gifts something to Finch. She gives him a flask with an F on it, and I love that she's just like, yeah, just don't think that this is never gonna happen between us. He's like, no, that's fine. I get it. And this is when you get the reveal that the Shermanator never had sex. They just had a long conversation that lasted all night long. And the girl finds out that he's been telling everybody that they had sex, and she pretty much announces it to the entire prom. And she just talks about how he says that he wets himself, and he wets himself.
I love that kid's character. In Royal, what is it, Ready to Rumble, plays like almost kind of the same, just dorky ass character in that movie too.
Yeah, and he's in and he's also in all of the American Pie movies. So Kevin is sad because he's, everybody left the pact, and he's not going to get anything, and but he gets excited when he's told that Sherman never had sex, and he's like, well, then what was the whole point of the pact?
Right.
So they got to go. They're going to Stifler's mom's lake house for an after party, or for after prom. And Stifler, you get the scene where Kevin and Vicky are finally going to go do it. So they go up to a room, and Stifler's fucking creepy ass brother's in there trying to sneak a peek. And I love how Vicky knows. She has to check because that little creep ass. And then he does. I actually laughed out loud for this, where he jumps on the bed and he's just like, fuck her. It's bouncing and then leaves. God, we're children. Oz tells Heather about the pact, and another scene where you're like, you just feel it's supposed to go in a different direction, but she's just like, oh, okay. And you're like, what is happening?
This whole honesty thing pays off.
Yes. That's why I actually like Oz in this movie. Like I said in the beginning, they try to make him look like a piece of shit, the way he talks to that first girl. And then for the rest of the movie, you're like, all right, he's not a bad dude. Finch, he's sad, and he goes into the room that clearly says not to go in it. And who's there but Stifler's mom? And she's got it going on. Played by Jennifer Coolidge, who the only thing, I think, oh, goddamn. Oh, she was in like Legally Blonde. And she was in an episode of Friends. I just remember that. And yeah, they have this really seductive conversation, and pretty much they end up doing it. And it's off screen because the actor playing Finch was 17 at the time. So of course you couldn't show that. Jim and Michelle tell each other stories. I like how she's like, I got all these stories, but you haven't told me any. He's like, well, I got stories, but they're pretty dirty. And she's like, oh, I don't care. Tell me. And so he tells her pretty much all the stories throughout this movie, like all the events that happen throughout the movie. And she tells a couple of her thing until she says that she shoved her flute into the downstairs area.
Her nether regions.
And she's like, what? She's like, yeah, band camp is kind of a sexual awakening. Like, you do a lot of crazy things there. He's like, oh. And that's when she like just blatantly was like, oh, so when are we gonna do this thing? And he's like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. And they go off.
Plot twist.
Yeah, and she said
this movie was just a big ploy to get teenage boys into band camp.
Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah.
Until they got
She said the only reason she picked it or said or agreed to it was because she knew that he was easy.
Yeah, and he was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin and Vicky, they have the conversation about positions in bed, and then they just end up doing the most boring looking sex I've ever seen.
You've never seen me have sex then.
Wet mattress.
Oh Lord. Who's going to listen to this episode? Probably not many people. Everyone everyone starts getting lucky, even Jim. And this is the best one because they're just it's in the kids' room and they're just breaking shit everywhere. Just shattering shit. Oh my Lord. And Finch is getting it with Stifler's mom. And Michelle is very fucking aggressive. And to the point where she's like, say my name. Say my name.
Yeah.
Say my name, Michelle. And I guess that was all Allison Flanagan. Yeah, it was all ad-lib.
Bitch.
So
What?
good. Oh my God. So the next morning is a sad one for Vicky and Kevin because they pretty much are like, yeah, well, we're going to be going to college at places that are very far apart from each other. The relationship isn't going to work. He tries to say it is, but they both know it's probably not going to work. And also the fact that like that shows Oz and Heather, you think they did it, but like Oz later states that they didn't actually have sex. I'm confused. Did they or didn't they?
I think doesn't he leave it kind of ambiguous? He's just like,
maybe he just doesn't tell him. Maybe he did, and he's just like, nah, it didn't happen. We just talked.
He's trying to be the polite guy.
Yeah. Stifler walks in on Finch and his mom, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, Stifler, you piece of shit. That's what you get. I like Jim waking up next to the inflatable dinosaur.
Yeah.
And I love where at first he was like, it seemed like he was sad about being like, fucked to death. Like she like just they had sex and she just left. He's like, yeah, I just got out. I was used. Sweet.
Yeah.
And then they all meet at that same little restaurant and they talk about next time, which will be American Pie 2 years later.
The plot of the next movie.
Yeah. And then the end is, I guess, is Jim giving Nadia a show over the webcam. He's doing the weird stripping thing again. And his dad sees it, and then his dad starts doing the dance in the hallway. I was like, yeah. So a good way to end this movie. And that's it. That is the plot of American Pie. Any final thoughts on this movie before we go into our closing comments?
It was her first time watching it.
Really? I feel like we've gotten a lot of those lately. Angela, do you watch movies?
I do.
Okay, I was just wondering. Okay, just a common question, just making sure. I feel like we've found so many you haven't seen ever.
You got to remember though that I was raised different than you guys. I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of things, so.
Oh, I wasn't not allowed to watch this. I found a way.
Yeah, let's say.
Well, I mean, I didn't go anywhere. I stayed at home. I probably didn't watch most of my movies until I visited Nebraska the first time with Jeannie and Holly.
That's fair.
It would have been high school. Yeah, like junior year, high school. That was probably the first time I ever went up there.
That's what I
So yeah,
watching more movies.
that's my junior year of high school. Would probably be the first time that I started really branching out and watching stuff. So
It was all right.
a lot of time to make up.
Oh, that's great. That's the great thing about this show. You get to watch more movies.
Yes.
That's why
I've
we're
never
here.
That's it.
Well, that's not why we're here.
He fucking
I
makes
don't
us.
like this guy, but we get to watch more movies, so it's pretty cool.
That's it. That's the only reason.
Dark.
Parker's just the catalyst.
Dark, do you have any final thoughts on American Pie?
It was good to see, Finch Finch was the winner in the end of the movie.
Absolutely.
Which is good to see. I mean, Stifler's mom does have it going on.
Absolutely.
I think we all kind of fell in love a little bit with Allison Hannigan at the end of the movie.
She's great.
And Yeah, I don't know. Then Tara Reid want to smoke crack. I don't know where that's my final thought.
Tara Reid. I feel she's probably doing a lot better now. Has been.
I mean,
hope
as
so.
much as
She's
I
doing
don't like her, yeah, I hope she is.
She's doing Sharknado movies, and they seem to be successful.
So we'll see. So Frankie
Or I
Muniz
guess
did one too.
Frankie,
And I got to meet him. He was an awesome
God,
dude.
Malcolm in the Middle is such a great show.
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
Yeah, I got to meet him. His band came through our town and played, and we opened up for him. He was a cool dude.
That's fucking cool.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I have a question for y'all.
Okay.
What kind
This
of
is-
pie would you fuck if you had to fuck a pie?
You can ask that if you want, but that's not where I was
Oh,
going.
okay.
Pecan.
Ooh, you
Ooh.
like that grit,
Pretty
huh?
sticky.
I don't like pecan pie, so
I like to
wouldn't
hurt
feel
it
as
a little
bad.
bit.
yeah, I like the pain.
Chocolate peanut butter.
The grit is the texture.
Yeah.
He likes that chunky
Smooth.
peanut butter in there too.
Or
Oh,
an
peanut butter.
Oreo cream.
No,
Yes, there you go.
I
Half
want
the
to
work's
eat
already
the
done.
Oreo cream pie, not
You can when he
No.
gets done with it.
no. I don't want that cream. No.
Where's the
Damn it.
cream filling?
Extra protein.
Okay.
Lemon meringue.
Ooh,
Ooh, a little. Imagine you
Little
get a
tart.
little
What if you
exotic.
get a little bit of a cut down there and it just stings?
Ooh.
Fucking lemon.
What's the safe word? What's the safe word?
Oh God.
No, serious question.
Okay.
If you remember, and you don't have to answer this because I don't want anybody to make feel uncomfortable, as much as we talked about on the show. Does anybody remember the first porn movie they watched? Do they remember
Yes,
the name of it?
I don't remember the name. It was probably something
Well-
on fucking Skinamax or something. Like it was late,
good old
like
Skinamax.
11, 12 o'clock. Cinemax had the fucking
I know
softcore porns.
mine. Because I've never watched one.
There you go.
Oh,
So that's your answer.
I told you I was a good girl.
Bravo. All right. I have a 2-part answer.
Oh, please. This is going to be interesting.
Jesus.
Okay. First thing I ever I fed the geese to, I ever spanked it, was the Girls
Okay.
Gone Wild infomercial.
Yeah, dude, I remember those. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair point.
First full porno I ever watched was called Barbie's Porno Party.
Nice. Dude, they ran a lot of those Girls Gone Wild and shit like that, like on E.
Oh,
Late at
every
night.
night, 2 in the
That
morning.
guy,
You'd see the warning pop up on the screen, and you're like, "Yeah, my
didn't that guy get arrested or something? Isn't that
Oh,
guy
yeah,
in
of course.
jail?
You just got to
Yeah.
shuffle it down.
Yeah.
Sitting there.
Yeah. Victoria's
That was
Secret.
when it was time to go to
And then you
bed.
end up looking like Jim. You pull out the big tube sock. You're like,
Yeah.
all right, parents are in bed.
Victoria's Secret catalog.
Yeah,
There you
JC
go.
Penney's, yeah.
All right. Well,
Got a lot more Sears around here.
woo.
But anyway, no. I don't know. It had to be. It was old, like at 70s or 80s porn, but it was called The Dirty Dozen.
Isn't there an actual movie called that? Like an
There
old
is a
Western?
military movie called but this is not the military movie. I assure you.
Oh,
This-
God.
That's it.
The Dirtiest Dozen is what it should have been called.
It should have been
Yeah.
What was your porn movie name that you were gonna?
both of them, or just the
Oh.
one. Oh no, it was Doppelgangbanger.
Oh yeah, that
Once they perfect cloning technology, Doppelgangbanger, patent pending, and then the other one's the porn site for heavy, overweight people with bukkake and biscuits and gravy.
Yes, he talks about
Biscuit-
that in the
Biscuits
Reanimator
and baby
episode.
gravy.
Biscuits and gravy, baby.
There we go. All right, everybody.
Great filling.
That is
Episode
American
69.
Pie. Episode 69. Yes.
Nice.
For
Please put a warning at the beginning of this.
next
record
week's
a separate
episode,
clip. Just-
for episode, yes, this is going to be a very, listen, our show is already viewer discretion advised, but this is like fucking bold, underlined,
This needs a
fucking
neon
flashing
sign.
viewer discretion advised. Okay.
Run the thing through the bottom. Just
Yeah.
every now and
Please
then.
do.
Yeah. So for next week, for episode 70, I have made the executive decision because my dumbass didn't put up a vote on Twitter and I needed a movie to announce. So we are going to talk about a movie that celebrated a 25th anniversary this year, the 1997 Men in Black.
Oh,
shit.
Yes.
I'm scared. That's
what a
good.
good
No.
movie.
I haven't
Listen,
seen it all the time.
We're going to talk about Men in
Something's
Black, but I don't know if we're going to do the whole franchise. We'll do the whole franchise at some point, but to be honest, I kind of just want to talk about individual movies for probably the rest of this year. We might start back
That's
up at the
fine.
beginning of the year talking about a franchise, but I do want to talk about Men in Black because this fucking movie is
Perfect.
awesome.
Is
And
Men in
the-
Black really a franchise? I mean, I know there's multiple movies, but 1 and 2 were like
2 wasn't good.
That was the best.
3 was good. International is an abomination and should have never been made.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Didn't watch
really
that
don't
one.
want to talk about it.
My mom says the same thing about me, so it's fair.
I'm sorry. So yeah, that'll be episode 70. Men in
I
Black.
hope she listens to this. I hope she fucking listens to this.
She won't.
All right. Well, since it's the end of the show, let's talk about where we can find everybody. So Darkraizard, tell everybody where they can find you.
Twitch.tv/Darkraizard, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, YouTube, TikTok. Anywhere you go to watch videos or listen to music, you can find Darkraizard.
Go find him. Watch his things.
Yes.
Watch his shit. It's good.
Remember, guys. What was it? Damn it.
Remember to buy Pit Vipers.
Yes, that's it. You can't touch music. You can't touch music, but music can touch you.
Yes.
That's right.
DNA Gaming. Where can they find you?
All down there.
Twitch,
Yep.
DNA_gaming1, and Twitter, DNA Gaming_1.
I'm glad he can remember
There
it
you
because I'm
go.
the one that made it and I can't
Congrats.
remember it.
All of the links will be down in the description for DNA Gaming. Well, for everybody that is on this show right now. You can find me. Well, I primarily hang out over the Dissect That Film pages over on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's it. Oh, and Facebook. Not that I ever use Facebook. And my personal pages are at Parker Dissects over on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. Once every 4 months.
Omegle, Chat Roulette,
all those things. Just kidding.
Oh no, that's me.
No. If you ever open the Foot account, you got to name it Feet4ya.
Never stops. It never stops, everybody. All right, everybody. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela of DNA Gaming, and that is Darkraizard. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 69.
Nice.
We'll see you all again next time. Bye.